So an equation is a statement where one side equals the other. For example, in this question we are asked to solve 12 is equal to x plus 8. So this is an equation because this side is equal to this side. So this is a statement where it says the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Now before we can start tackling this question, I want to show you in a pictorial way what we're trying to do. So I've set up this seesaw. On the left hand side we have 12 sweets, and the right hand side is balanced by 8 sweets and also a box of sweets. Now in this box there's an unknown number of sweets. We don't know. This is what an X means. A letter in algebra means an unknown quantity, an unknown number. So we don't know how many sweets are in that box, or the number of sweets in that box. So we want to work out the number of sweets in that box. So what we can do is we can take an equal number of sweets, or the known number of sweets, from both sides. For example, I can take 4 sweets away from here, and I can take 4 sweets from here, and it's still going to be balanced. Now if I take another 4 sweets from here, for the other side to be balanced, I have to take 4 sweets from there as well. So now we can see that 4 sweets here balance the number of sweets in the box. So this would suggest that there are also 4 sweets inside this box. So if we were to do this as a working out in our exercise books, we would say that we are first of all taking away 8 from both sides. So that leaves us with 4 is equal to x. So I've taken away 8 from this side, and I've taken away 8 from this side, and that left with 4 is equal to x. And normally we just write that as x is equal to 4. So in this question we have to solve 2x is equal to 12. So 2 lots of x is equal to 12. So I've shown this as 2 boxes, and in each box is an unknown quantity, and it's the same amount. So it's x in here and x in here. So it's 2 unknown amounts, and this equals to 12 sweets. So it's balanced by 12 sweets as an example. So 2x is equal to 12. Now if on this side I only had 1 box, I could easily tell the number of sweets in that box. So how do I do that? I have to get rid of half of the boxes. So if I get rid of half of what's on this side, then I have to get rid of half of what's on this side. So I'm going to go half of that, and I'm going to get rid of half of that. So because I've halved both sides, or I've divided both sides by 2, I can now easily see that in one box the unknown quantity is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So x is equal to 6. So how do we write this down? So we divide this side by 2, we divide that by side by 2 as well. So we've halved both sides, so we're left with x is equal to 6. In this question, 3 lots of x is equal to 18. So we don't know the number of sweets in each box, so we're going to call them x, and that means it's the same number of sweets. That's very important. It's the same number of sweets in each box, and the 3 boxes are balanced by 18 sweets on the right. So we want to know the quantity or the number of sweets in each box on the left hand side. So because we want to know the number of sweets in one box on the left hand side, we can divide the left hand side by 3. And if we divide the left hand side by 3, we have to divide the right hand side by 3. So I'm going to get rid of this one box. So I'm dividing by both sides by 3. So if there were 18 sweets, 18 divided by 3 is 6. So that's how we know now that the number of sweets in the left hand box is equal to 6. So if we were to do this in our exercise books, we would divide both sides by 3, so that x we know is equal to 6. In this question we have to solve 2 lots of unknown, or 2 lots of x, or 2x plus 2 equals to 12. So we have to solve 2 lots of unknown plus 2 is equal to 12. Well, the easiest thing would be to see that we've got 2 extra sweets over here. So if you can just get rid of 2 sweets from here, that would make our life a little bit easier. So that's the first thing we will do. So get rid of these 2 sweets from the left hand side and 2 from the right hand side. So now that we've taken 2 sweets away from both sides, we've got 2 lots of x is equal to, if you count the number of sweets here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 sweets. So 2 lots of 2x is equal to 10. Now to find out how many sweets in one box, we just have to half both sides. So if we half that, we'll have one box left. So we have to half the number of sweets on this side. So we now know that one lot of unknowns is equal to 5 sweets. So we divided both sides by 2, so we've got only x left here, and 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So that's how we know that x is equal to 5. So in this question we have 3x plus 5 is equal to 20, or 3 lots of unknowns, or 3 boxes, plus the 5 sweets will equal to 20 sweets. So it will be easiest for us to deal with this extra 5 sweets on the left hand side. So we'll take the 5 sweets from this side, and since we've taken 5 from this side, we'll also have to take 5 from this side. Now as you can see, because I've taken 5 away from both sides, I've got 3x is equal to 15. So now I've got 15 sweets on the right, and I have 3 lots of unknowns on the left, or 3 lots of x on the left hand side. So to find out how much is in one box, I have to divide the number of boxes on the left hand side by 3, and so if I divide the left hand side by 3, I have to divide the right hand side by 3. So when I divide the left hand side by 3, I'll only have one box left, and the 15 sweets on the right, if I divide that by 3, I'll have 5 sweets left. So that tells me that one box must have 5 sweets. So x is equal to 5. So what do I do? How do I write this down? We divided both sides by 3. So now x is equal to 5. And you can always check these answers by doing substitution. So now we think that x is equal to 5. So instead of 3 times x, we're going to write 3 times 5. Add 5 is equal to 20. Is that true? Well, 3 times 5 is 15. 15 add 5 is indeed equal to 20. So we are right. X is equal to 5. So it's always a good idea when you're solving equations, once you have worked out what the value of x is, so you think that x is equal to 5 in this case, you substitute back into your equation Okay, and so see if you can get the answer, which is 20 in this case. So if that works, you know your answer was correct.